Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. All right, a bit of progress. We'll see how much in a moment in the state of affairs in Ondo. That is to say that Governor Rotimi Akeredolu has, indicated that he's proceeding on another medical vacation. But in the meantime, he has indeed transmitted power to his deputy, Mr. Lucky Ayedade. Well, we'll look at this, but in the meantime, here's a report to give background to the matter.
It is not the first time that Governor Akeredolu will be away from his desk on medical leave. In the last 2 years, he has been away on 5 occasions. The first was in April 2021, and the most recent was in July, which saw him return from Germany on the 7th of September, barely able to strike a balance between fulfilling his constitutional duty and looking after his health. His prolonged stay in Ibadan to recuperate sparked yet another crisis, which resulted in mediation at the highest level to stave off a full-blown crisis.
We are alarmed by the failure of the Ondo State House of Assembly to activate the necessary or the relevant constitutional provision to appoint the Deputy Governor as acting governor.
Have a constitutional problem. Normally, once the governor is out of office, the next person is the deputy governor to take over.
3 months in Ibadan now, another medical vacation is being planned. A formal letter is expected to be sent to the House of Assembly stating its notice of transfer of power in line with constitutional provisions and must be transmitted. What this means is that the deputy governor, Lucky Ayedatiwa, will assume the responsibilities of governor of Ondo State in acting capacity. Lawyers are already reacting.
A formal conferment of authority from the governor or from the House of Assembly. It's not just only from the governor or from the House of Assembly. Like, for example, from the governor, in ordinary circumstances, I'm going on leave, I won't be able to, or for any circumstances that I'm not able to perform my duties, he can confer a notice given his powers to him.
This new development is coming after months of political impasse regarding governance, which also raised concerns of his signature being forged. Many are hoping that the tension and uncertainty in the last few months will be put to rest when the transfer of power is done in accordance with the Constitution. Ayodeji Moradeyo, TVC News, Akure.
Okay, thanks to Moradeyo there. Okay, and Dr. Tunji Abayomi is actually now, we have him live on our program. He was seen there in that clip. That was yesterday. A fine morning to you, Dr. Abayomi.
Morning, Honorable Yori. I'm actually staying in Akure.
Thank you very much. I wish. But But seriously, we're beginning to see light at the end of the tunnel in terms of resolving this, because you were quoted in the press as saying that the resolution of the problem in Ondo could only come from within Ondo. And this was, you said this against the backdrop of the president having tried to intervene.
Yes. Because the problem encompasses emotional, I would say, influence and unnecessary suspicions, resentments, which really are all unwarranted. If the relationship between the governor and his deputy were to be as it should be, the governor is indisposed naturally. The deputy governor will act freely on the conviction that, my boss is not able to do this, but on his behalf and in the interest of the people, I will do it. And he won't feel any problems at all, any tension.
We seem to have lost sound there, but that was Dr. Tunji Abayomi, commenting on the situation.
And the accommodation, it will have to be done by the leadership of government leadership in Ondo State. That's why I said what I said.
Yeah, but now that the constitutional provisions are being complied with, that seemed to have been the bone of contention. Governor Akeredolu has always, in the frequent times he has been out of state, has actually done the right thing, has notified the assembly, and the deputy governor has acted in an acting capacity until this last time. That is where things appear to have gotten a bit more complex. But now that we sort of returned to the path of constitutionalism, are we out of? Why are we not yet out of the woods, if indeed that is the case?
Well, I think we're going to have to watch development in Ondo State, because power is temporarily transmitted to the deputy governor. But let us also understand, he's just acting. He isn't the governor. He's not the substantive governor. The substantive governor is still there. But for now, like I told some of your colleagues, he is more or less a special agent and a special representative of the government. That's why we call him acting governor. And
Yes.
acting governor acts in the place of the substantive government. What it means is, for example, you cannot overturn the currents of government that is established by the elected governor. And I believe that as acting governor, you will need to do well to build relationship between the existing structure that is essentially established and presided over, and with loyalty to the existing to the elected governor.
Mm-hmm.
But now that existing structure and people have a new boss ad interim. Understandably, some uncomfortability may exist. It is the responsibility of the deputy governor, now as acting governor, in faithfulness to the elected government, to ensure that the label of uncomfortability is not attached to his actions and also to his relationship.
Okay. Because thank you for that, Dr. Abayomi, because I was going to ask you what the intention was of that provision of the Constitution, that where the governor is, for whatever reason, not able to discharge his functions as the governor, as it would have seemed to be the case that we have now. What are the extents? Because if he's going to be the acting governor, you've just used the word loyalty, with loyalty to his boss, because he is not the substantive governor. But what does that mean exactly in terms of being practical? The acting governor now still has to carry on the business of state. He's going to need aides. No governor can do it alone. He needs his aides.
Yes.
Is he allowed to bring his own aides on board, or must he use aides that existed before this situation, which has been partly resolved?
That's a very good question, Mr. Yori. Now, the deputy governor was and presumed is, up until now, part of the government. He is deemed to be part of the participants in determining the currents of governance. In other words, the structure, the ideals set out with his input as deputy governor will be expected to be continued in the interest of the people and in the interest of the government. That doesn't, of course, say that it cannot remove error or wrong that are prejudicial to what is existing. But I think the expectation is that he will act as the governor wants him to act because he's acting on his behalf. In other words, I send you out as an agent. In the interim, can you then act contrary to my directive or my expectation? Because it may not be, in this case, directive, it may be expectation, which he will be deemed to have, having participated for some time in the currents of government. So there's really nothing abnormal about it. I explained to some of your colleagues yesterday, we have a hoe and we have a yam farm, and we have to tender the plant of the yam. But now, the governor is injured in his hand. He cannot hold the hoe. And he gives it to a deputy. Please continue taking care of this farm while I go to treat my hand that was injured while I was actually presiding over the care of that farm. And the governor destroy, remove, scatter the farm. Of course, he cannot. What is expected to do is to continue the vision that established the farm. Remember, he was part of that vision because he was in that farm with the governor when the governor was tendering that farm. I think it's just that simple.
So when we talk about administrations, so this is really the way to see this from what you're saying is it's the Rotimi Akeredolu administration under, that is being piloted by the acting governor.
Yes.
It is not
Excellent.
the Ayedatiwa administration. It is the Rotimi Akeredolu administration. Would that be a fair way?
That's a fantastic way to express it.
So,
let us remember something, Mr. Yori. The Constitution does not allow two governors at any time. It allows for only one governor, as long as that governor is alive and it hasn't been removed, because there are only two ways by which the commission and office of the governor can be vacant. Either by nature, for example, if it's no longer alive, or by law, if it's removed. Those are the only ways it can be. If it's removed, or he removes himself, because he can also resign.
yes.
Those are the only ways by which, and in those three instances, then another governor will come in, but only one governor can exist
At the time.
at any particular time.
At the time.
Therefore, even when the governor delegates his authority by way of Section 189 as to the deputy governor as acting governor, the deputy governor is a deputy governor acting for the governor.
He is deputy governor, but I would imagine with additional powers. Now, Honorable Ayedatiwa, in the recent past, has spoken of his loyalty to his boss and has spoken of his desire to carry everybody along. These statements have been put out there. But when you consider the amount of the apparent reluctance of the key functionaries in the Akeredolu administration, allegedly, to sort of embrace him, it must be because they had these suspicions. And you've just explained that, look, whatever happens, it's the Akeredolu administration. He cannot upturn it, and, because he also was a part of that administration. Yes. He was a part of that Akeredolu administration. But now, because of circumstances, he has the additional duty of now piloting the affairs pending the return of his principal, which will happen, as everybody is praying for, as soon as is humanly possible.
I'm not even sure we can call it additional power.
Okay.
As much as delegated power,
Okay.
Increased delegated power, because basically it's deputizing power. Nothing more than deputizing power. Because remember, everything he's doing now, it could have been delegated to do it if the government was okay. The only thing, yes, it could have been delegated to do it if the government was okay. If the governor wasn't, for example, sick. I think the reason why this provision is provided is because of the uncertainty. For example, assuming, for example, the governor goes to Russia and this Ukraine war stops him from coming back to Nigeria, what happens? If he delegates power to the deputy governor, his government can continue and will continue. That's the whole essence. When when he transmits power. So really, in reality, there shouldn't be any tension. If the relationship between the two parties, between the camp of the government and the camp of the deputy governor, was smooth and then lucid.
Well, I take the point you made, Dr. Bayami, about not necessarily additional power as much as delegated power. But perhaps what I was seeking a clarification on, to put it differently and perhaps better, is that because of this delegation, any person in Aiyedatiwa's situation, any person who is, just like we have it at the national level, we had it with Oshibajo in Buhari's time for a while, there will be things that are the purview exclusively of the governor, but as a result of the delegation, he might be able to touch upon, perhaps, it needs to be said,
yes,
working with the legislator, because even the governor, when he's fully on board, when he's fully on ground, there are things he does and he cannot do alone. He has to do with the State House of Assembly. So that situation is there, perhaps. You were going to comment on that fact that
yes,
areas he might not have been able to touch upon before the delegation of authority, he now can go there.
Well, that's correct. That's very correct. But also remember, when he signs, he does not sign as governor. He will sign as acting governor.
Okay. And before he can even do that, he has to have the State House of Assembly fully on board.
Yes. Definitely. Just as the governor himself will need the House of Assembly to support him for his actions and decisions. So basically, it's a normal current of governance, which really shouldn't have caused any issue. But because of the tension, sometimes things become extraordinary, when in fact they are largely ordinary.
Let me take you a bit back to the Buhari administration to sort of illustrate this one. The vice president at the time had dealt with an issue in the Supreme Court in a certain way, and it is thought, although never stated, that that was not pleasing to his boss, but it had been done. I wonder if instances like that, potential instances like that, are sort of relevant in this the sort of theoretical conversation that we're having here as to areas that one might step on a slippery slope? Because it would appear from what you've explained that he is the acting governor, so appointed by his principal, and so there's the matter of he wouldn't do anything outside of the, how does one put it, the pleasure of his principal.
Yeah, but let us remember something. In this circumstance, the action is usually not expected to be an action of the acting governor as much as the action of the government. What it then means is that the entire structure of government looks at issues. That's what is expected from the acting government. And they act as government. Obviously, as head of that government, in the interim, he projects the decision of that government. But if the government takes an action, howsoever, and remember, the cabinet is constituted by the governor, it cannot be faulted. Where the problem lies is where the acting governor solely and solitarily takes a decision without taking into consideration the input of the government. Because in taking into consideration the input or receiving the input of the government, in essence, it has also received the input of the governor, because it is the governor's cabinet, if I may put it that way. So
Okay.
I do not see any problem at all, And then let us also understand something. The Yaradua situation is a little different from our situation here, because in that case, there was no tension, with due respect. I only want to make an additional point here. Some have spoken about the doctrine of necessity, and so on and so forth. I think it's important to correct the thinking of quite a number of people in Nigeria. The concept of the doctrine of necessity is inapplicable. I repeat, inapplicable where a constitution governs government of any nation. The doctrine of necessity simply does not even come into issue. The presumption is that, go ahead.
Okay, I was going to ask if that probably weighs heavily into your statement that nothing of value can really be achieved in this imbroglio in the absence of the people of Ondo State. And, the president is reported to have said maybe there needs to be a consideration of the doctrine of necessity if Arakunrin Akeredolu did not do what has now been done, at that time.
Let me put it this way. The president swore to uphold the Constitution. Then I ask a question. Just as all the executive authorities, the question is there a doctrine of necessity in the Constitution? There's nothing like that. In all constitutionalized countries, doctrine of necessity does not exist. Everything is deemed to be inputted in the Constitution. And the Constitution guides even the present and the future. That's why it's called something of the present and something of the future. Document of the present and the document of the future. There's nothing like doctrine of the present.
Okay, Dr. Abayomi, at this stage, let's take a break. Okay, welcome back. And we've been chatting with Dr. Tunji Abayomi, on a constitutional lawyer, and he's a political affairs analyst as well. We've been looking at the situation in Ondo State, where the constitutional provision is reported to have now been done. That is to say, Governor Akeredolu has proceeded or decided to proceed back to Germany for further treatment. And indeed, he has said that he's going to pay more attention to his health and will not, resume duty until he's 100% there. In the meantime, this whole matter of, transmitting power, we're looking at that and what it means, the implications of it. We've had Dr. Tunji Abayomi from the beginning, and we've now been joined by Honorable Olugbenga Omole, spokesman, Ondo State House of Assembly, the 9th House of Assembly. We're in the 10th. The current one is the 10th. So let me say good morning to you, Honorable Gbenga Omole.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
To be back.
Thank you very much for joining us. Maybe to now hear from you, what do you make of all of this? Sometimes they say not yet Uhuru. Can we say it is Uhuru now, in the sense that we see light at the end of the channel, constitutional provisions have now been taken care of? Is it plain sailing from here on, or is there more work to be done?
Definitely, there's still more work to be done, but I can say we are getting there. I want to say good morning to Uncle Tunji Abayomi, who is watching now. I listened to him when he spoke earlier. He's a constitutional lawyer, and he has said some things that is pertaining to the issue on ground. The issue on ground now is that I know you followed it up. The presidential intervention in the first time, that was on November 24th, where a lot of people were there. On Monday night, there are fewer people, and I think that is when the president really told them to hold the part of the constitution. I've read so many news whereby they said they misquoted and misrepresented the president by saying the president directs the House of Assembly. The president did not direct the House of Assembly. The president was advising them to do what they ought to have done before now. It is clear in the Constitution of Nigeria, Section 190, subsection 2, clearly states when we are in this kind of position, whereby the governor is away for a very long time. In fact, it was even 21 days that was mentioned in that particular paragraph. And what the Constitution says is that if the governor did not transmit to the House of Assembly that is absent for 21 days, simple majority of the members of the House of Assembly should make the deputy governor acting governor. It's as simple as that. All what is happening is politics, and it's unfortunate that personal interest has eating deep into it. There are rumors that the speaker wants to be acting governor. We cannot rule that out because of his behavior in this saga. It's very unfortunate. And I want to quickly say this in what Dr. Tunji Abayomi said about moving forward. We are in a situation now. We move from one situation to another. We are in another situation now. And to move forward for peace to reign, I will go biblical now by quoting Amos 3:3. Can two work together except they agreed? The governor and the deputy governor agreed. That's why they worked thus far. Now, the deputy governor, before the end of today, will be officially the acting governor, bearing any issues. And I know for the House Assembly to now repair their battered and damaged image, you have to do the right thing. And the right thing is people have been mentioning doctrine of necessity. It's just a provisional, it's just a part in the Constitution that they need to do. And I've just mentioned that part, which is Section 190, subsection 2, which is clear. It's not ambiguous, it is simple and clear. And when I said, can two work together except they agreed, the deputy governor is coming back to be acting governor now. He has to do the needful. He has to be firm, he has to be fair, and he has to, chart a new course, because presently, Ondo State is not in a very good situation. you have your correspondent there, your Morade, your here. I mean, he can do some shots for you. His state is very dirty. In fact, it's one of the dirtiest states in Nigeria now. And this is not acceptable to us because the head is not around. The second in commander was not allowed to do his duty. So the deputy governor immediately assumed duty as acting. I expect him to rejig the cabinet. Some people just have to go because, I mean, this is politics. Some will distract him, and they are strategically located presently in the cabinet, and they are the cabals.
Is that,
we don't have to deceive ourselves.
How challenging do you think that is going to be? Because I was in trying to understand this. It's not a situation that we have, happily, it's not a situation that we have too frequently here. We still are in the Akeredolu administration with Mr. Ayedatiwa as the acting governor. So anything that is going to be done in terms of the structure of that administration, do you also see it that it's going to have to be done, one, with the party in mind, with the assembly in mind, since, as I've just said, it's effectively an Akeredolu administration, or do you see it differently?
No doubt it's Akeredolu administration, but we must at the same time know that it's a joint ticket. Then, if the resolutions in the first meeting at the presidential intervention was because the president believed these people, troubling the deputy governor are sincere with him because they had an agreement that day, and the president expected them to come to Ondo State and do the needful. But unfortunately, they came here, they started misinterpreting what the president meant. I spoke with you, I was on this channel 2 weeks ago, and I gave you an information that morning that this set of people went to the House Assembly and submitted name of nominees into the LCDA. I asked, that was not part of the status quo that was ab initio agreed in Abuja. And I want to tell you for free now, Uncle Yori, that the letter that transmitted that list to the House Assembly was unsigned. That means whatever they did that day was illegal. I had it on good authority. I spoke with members of the House Assembly. The letter was not signed because the governor, maybe they didn't even carry the governor along. The deputy governor was not aware. The party chairman wrote names and sent it to the House Assembly. And they did their kangaroo inauguration in the dead of the night. For crying out loud, this is Ondo State. It has never been as bad as it. That means there are some people that will not allow the acting governor now to move the state forward. And like I keep on saying, I want to repeat again, can two work together except they are in agreement?
I do remember that time, Honorable Omale, that when you called into the program and informed us very much as you have said now. But since then, there's been water under the bridge. There's been water under the bridge.
A lot.
A lot of water under the bridge. And it's like we have a new day now. It's a constitutional day. If the letter wasn't signed then, I think a lot of things are being left behind. I think I've even been reading that some understandings were reached not to even query allegations of forgery of the governor's signature.
The issue of forgery is what is going to make this complicated now, because the truth of the matter is, I don't think the governor presently is in the position to even sign any document. I learned from good authority.
Am I mistaken? I think we have video of the governor actually signing I don't know. I have to be careful here. But
that was on September 8th.
Okay.
That was on September 8th, and since then, I don't want to go into. What I'm trying to say here is that between the intervention of the president the first time, that was November 24th, to now, a lot of things have come out into the open. For example, the allegation of forgery, which one of the cabinet members wrote what he observed. And I've spoken with a few members of the cabinet too. They too observed that. So if you are saying we are suspecting, I'm not even saying suspecting because they have went ahead to have a forensic analysis that has come out positive. So if the question is on the signature on government that authorize approvals, I don't think it will be right for us to now accept another. In fact, at the last meeting with the president, the son of the governor asked to say that he will get an e-sign or what is it called, digital signature for the letter to be transmitted to the House Assembly. We don't want to move from fry pan to fire. We have a system at hand, and there's a constitutional provision that can safeguard all this so that the acting governor will start on a very clean note, whereby his transmission to acting governor will not be questioned.
All right. Honorable, I beg your pardon. One moment, please. Honorable, I beg your pardon. A caller has called in, and I need to also say that Dr. Tunji Abayomi is still very much with us. So, Dr. Abayomi, thank you for your patience, but we had to hear from Honorable Omole, who was missing for the first half of the program, perhaps due to events beyond his control. In the meantime, Mazi Okorafor has called in from Arochukwu. Thank you too, sir, for holding on all that while. Please go ahead now. Mazi Okorafor, good morning to you, sir.
Yeah, good morning, sir. That's Mazi Okorafor from Arochukwu. Now, the president has spoken. The president has endorsed. Now, why are we deciding? Now, let's come back to the Constitution. What is the Constitution of the Federal Republic talking? If you are absent from job, is it not 6 months or 3 months? Why are we retarding? Why are we moving from one place to another place? Now, the government itself, when Yar'Adua was in the office, he was among that time was the Nigerian Association president. What was his comment? That Yar'Adua has to do what? To resign. He made it. He's there. Everything is documented. Why is it that the board is now in its own court? All these things are coming up. You see, whatever you present to anybody, that is what we call about, no matter the program, whether it's modern or competent, anything you present to another person, you see it coming. So I don't know why we have to be telling that. The deputy governor, what is the Constitution talking? Right? If they don't want the deputy governor, are they looking for the speaker to come on board? You skip up the deputy. That is the clause about that. Let us face reality. They don't want the deputy, they want the speaker to come on board. Fine, if you want that, you know exactly what to do. Why is it so? Because the governor says he knows it. You should go back to the basis and think over it. Now, he made that comment that Yar'Adua should step aside. Why is it the case? Look, we are turning Nigerian politics to commotion and confusion. Let us face the reality of life. Whether it's the Constitution, let's face Constitution and do the needful. Now or never. What? All this is power and money. Where are we heading to? Where are we running to?
All right.
Merry Christmas to all Nigerians. Good morning.
Thank you very much. Compliments of the season to you. Now, Dr. Abayomi, there still is a lot of work to be done. You can see the complications that are coming up, suspicions. I would say suspicions, because the Speaker of the House of Assembly doesn't come into this at all constitutionally, yet you can see that there are suspicions that in spite of what
Can I attend to some of the issues?
Yes, please.
By Honorable Omode?
Yes, please.
First of all, the position of the president is that status quo ante bellum should be maintained. That means that status quo before the crisis. That is to say, the governor remains governor, the deputy remains deputy, the cabinet established by the governor, including the deputy governor, remains intact, and everything should continue. That accords with the Constitution in the present circumstances. Now, Omole spoke about joint ticket. Fine, but it is not equal ticket. There's a difference between a joint ticket and an equal ticket. Let us remember that before the deputy governor became jointly ticketed with the governor. He was an appointee of the governor. It wasn't like, for example, he put himself to the people, and the people elected him for the governor. It was the governor who appointed him and said, I'm putting him forward to you so that you will elect me with him, not elect him with me. So yes, it is a joint ticket, but it is not an equal ticket. So let us understand it. And with regard to the letter to the House of Assembly, that it is not signed, well, if that is the case, that's the problem of the House of Assembly. It means that something is manifestly wrong with the practice and procedure of legislating in the House of Assembly. That has nothing to do, in my view, with whosoever sent the letter to the House of Assembly. You have terms and conditions for endorsing, whatever. Now, this issue about signing, I spoke about it yesterday. I find it very interesting, but people make so much of what I consider largely immaterial. There's a difference between a forged signature and an irregular signature. A forged signature is a signature that represents falsehood. In other words, assuming now that a letter is sent by me, and I didn't know anything about that letter, and somebody forged a letter and signed my name to it. That is to say, signature without my consent. But assuming that we'll do this, right? Suppose somebody even signs for me as governor, and then you raise it, and I said that's my signature. Then what happens? The Constitution didn't say how the governor is to sign with due respect. All it says is that the governor must sign a document in his capacity as chief executive. Therefore, with due respect, if, for example, the governor is indisposed and he writes 3 lines, stroke 1, stroke 2, stroke 3, and then an issue arises and he says, that's my signature, what will you do about it? There's nothing you can do about it. So when you are talking of forged signature, a criminal offense, you should be very sure, because I read what the commissioner said, but also it was countermanded by the speaker, by the public affairs speaker for the governor, the media man for the governor. He disputed that position. And then the other issue is, if a man is sick, his signature could be regular. I'm not sick, but I have a long signature, but I'm getting older. And my signature becomes sometimes irregular because my hand shakes a little bit. So I have to design a new signature, which is just a short signature, easy to sign. And then the final point I want to make is that the Constitution does not want a nation that has no compassion. You cannot, because of illness, remove a governor. That's the whole essence of the Constitution. In this nation, there are over 35 million disabled people who are entitled to run for governor, for president, to be minister, to be anything. And the Constitution takes that into consideration when it provides special procedure. When a governor can be removed because of illness, it must be impairment, permanent impairment, incapacity, which must be confirmed by 5 eminent doctors, including the doctor of the governor. So this is what the Constitution is. So, and we must respect it in order to have peace and understanding in our state.
Okay, then. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Abayomi, for that commentary. Honorable Omole, as we are rounding off on this subject matter now, did you have any other thoughts that you wanted to share?
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't want to dwell much on this issue of signature or no signature, but I just want to say this, that we all have checks that we give to banks when you sign, yeah, it's possible for your signature to be irregular, but they will make sure you do the right signature before that check could be authorized. We are talking of a signature that will be on in documents that is bringing out billions of naira, millions of naira, and that's giving out authority. So, like I said, that one is, I think, their expectation to the FCC, and I think they will handle that. Yeah, coming back to the issue of joint ticket, of course, in that joint ticket, there's a senior partner. That one is established in the Constitution. The governor is the head of government and is the senior partner, and he has absolute power. We are talking of a situation whereby some people are using the situation the governor is now to make the state. This is something we have to look into, critically into. And this set of people are still holding position in government. The truth of the matter is that the state now needs to move forward and move forward fast because, and for example, again, the government is not running just on one hand. We have a party, which is the All Progressive Congress, and we have an election, a very important and off-cycle election that is coming up next year. With all these shenanigans going on, the image of the party and the government of Ondo State has been battered. So we need somebody that will jumpstart it and replant and make our party, our government, acceptable to the people once again, because we can't afford to lose the gubernatorial election next year. Thank God, APC has overrun PDP in Ondo State. We don't have any fear about.
We're going to have to leave it there.
We have to put our house in order.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you very much, Honorable Lugbenga Omole, spokesman, as I said, for Ondo State 9th House of Assembly, a stakeholder, and being on the ground in Ondo, so you're aware of the politics. Thank you very much for your contributions. And thank you very much, Dr. Tunji.
Sorry, just
Abayomi.
Sorry, sir.
Yes, in closing, sir. Yes,
Just
Dr. Tunji Abayomi.
I think it's important to wish the acting governor, to wish him well, and to encourage him to build peace among the leadership of government. It is part of his responsibility as acting governor.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Dr. Abayomi, because indeed, in the letter of Arakunrin, Akeredolu that we saw, his greatest interest is for the people of Ondo State to get the benefit of good governance. And so thank you very much, gentlemen. So just before we go, let's bring you up to speed on the latest from Rivers State, where about 48 hours after the defection of 27 lawmakers to the All Progressive Congress, it seems that the last is yet to be heard of the matter, as the House of Assembly complex was demolished this morning. Also this morning, Governor Siminalayi Fubara has presented his 2024 budget to the four members of the State Assembly, led by the Ehir Edison as a Speaker of the House of Assembly, at another venue, since the Assembly complex, as you saw in that picture, was being pulled down. The governor's appropriation bill, tagged the budget of renewed hope, consolidation, and continuity, was presented before four members of the 32 lawmakers that make up the Rivers State House of Assembly. On Monday, 27 of the 38 lawmakers defected from the PDP to the APC. The lawmakers said that they left the People's Democratic Party because of the crisis, which has continued to define the lack of cohesion within the party. And also on Monday, the People's Democratic Party asked INEC to invoke Section 109, subsection 1G of the 99th Constitution as amended, and declare their seats vacant. Of course, in our news bulletins throughout the day, you'll be hearing much more about this.